Hello, my dear listeners. My name is Kishore Ganesh, and in this episode of the Vocal About Visuals podcast, I'll be reviewing the massive Pongal release that is Thunivu, starring the inimitable Ajith Kumar, aka Thala, Manju Warrier, Samuthirakani, and others. It is written and directed by H.Vinoth. H.Vinoth is a fascinating filmmaker. Before knowing more about his thinking process, I would have gone ahead and judged only the film in front of me without knowing the all important, at least for me, context and where the things that a creator says through the film are coming from. Now, other film fans and critics might say what is out on screen and how it translates to them is the only, or at least the most important and accurate way of critiquing a film. But that's not what the Vocal About Visuals podcast has set out to do. I'm far more interested in what is actually being said and where that said thing comes from than the craft aspects of a film. Of course, when the craft is great, that experience is infinitely superior. I agree, but I want to know the heart of the art in front of me. So, when I watched H. Vinod's recent interviews, a lot of the blanks got filled. For example, why there is so much detailing in his script. Take his earlier films, Dhiran Adhigaram Ondru, which offered a lot of details about the history of the criminals and about the internal workings of the police department. His previous film, Valimai, which offered a lot of details about the drug trade and biker gangs. He could have easily omitted these details out of the writing, but as he mentioned in one of his interviews, he included these details because, quote, information is what gives him his trip, end quote. Translation, it is the details and information that drives him more so than the story, which deals with the hero, his relationships, his struggles, etc. etc. And when I came to know about this, thereby knowing where Vinod is coming from, I could understand and appreciate the details in Thunivu. In Thunivu, he has chosen to tackle the scams and flaws with the banking system and the stock market. Ajith and the other actors in the film are present here to expose these scams. They are a team on a mission, and there are other teams out there whose mission is to stop them. So, Thunivu is a plot driven film, and kudos to Thala Ajith for accepting to do such a film instead of a hero worshipping masala flick, because this is a quote unquote festival film for the fans. Of course, it is the ground reality that such movies are just not working in the box office anymore. That said, however, Ajit has never taken a superstardom quite as all encompassing and allowed that to restrict him compared to a lot of other superstars, and in this aspect, he has, to his complete credit, been a pioneer. Case in point, Mangata. To Vinod's credit, he has managed to satiate the expectations of Ajit's hero worshipping fans by inserting shots where Ajit, oozing swag, is dancing and getting the better of his opponents, and has managed to credibly bring his story to the screen. The film's action set pieces are a highlight, and the effort that has gone into filming them is evident. The many action scenes involving explosives and the climax nautical chase scenes are extremely impressive. Impressive enough for even someone like me who's more a fan of hand to hand combat rather than explosions and chases to sit up, take notice, and marvel at them. Gibran's score is good. However, it seems like he has underplayed himself a bit here. A festival action movie needs a more booming and thumping background score, and the action set pieces would have delivered even better if the accompanying BGM was similarly high octane. A missed opportunity here, because it is not like Gibran can't deliver the requisite beats. He has just chosen a restrained approach here, which unfortunately was found lacking. Coming to the performances, of course, it has to begin with Ajith. Ajith is 100% back to form here. He has done what is required by the screenplay, and he has done that splendidly well. In the hero shots, he plays to the gallery. In the stunt scenes, he enthusiastically executes the choreography. In the scenes where he has to troll his adversaries, he does it with conviction and glee. And in a festival film, within the limitations of this script, his performance is superb and enjoyable. And here's a take that genuinely surprised even me. I think this is a rare film in which almost everyone, including the extras, have done a commendable job. Generally, you find North Indian actors who can't speak Tamil not doing a good job with lip syncing the Tamil lines, but it is not in the extraordinary zone, as was the case with Dhiran. Thunivu was lacking refinement, but despite this, the jagged twists and turns kept me engaged throughout the runtime. Shifting to the editing, the way some scenes, including the climax scene, ended abruptly was jarring. With the lack of quote unquote rest, both within the scenes and between one scene and the next, which could have been from the writing itself or could have been down to the editing, the film tends to leave the audience in a harried state. And this was rather unfortunate because had this film managed to deliver on that quote unquote complete feeling, it would have truly been memorable rather than what it is right now, a perfectly competent and enjoyable festival entertainer. Once again, my name is Kishore Ganesh, your friendly neighborhood podcast host, wishing you and yours a very, very happy Thai Tirunal Valthikal, aka Pongal Valthikal, aka Happy Pongal. If you like this content, please consider subscribing on YouTube and on your preferred podcast platforms. Follow me on my socials at Podcast Plural on Twitter and Instagram. Now, similar to an encoded scene from Marvel films, I would like to add a few more lines that fall in the mild spoiler territory. So, if you want to avoid any/all spoilers, please watch the film and then revisit this upcoming section, which begins now. There was one really interesting scene in the movie that kinda broke the fourth wall, in my opinion, and I don't mean the song in which they keep singing AK AK. The scene that I am referring to is the one where Ajith is holding a twice shot Manju Warrior close to him and she's starting to fade. A henchman, taking advantage of Ajith's vulnerable state, starts stabbing him in the back. First stab, and just as the henchman is about to stab Ajith for the second time, the almost dead Manju Warrior shoots him from underneath Ajith thanks to her hand being in between Ajith's hand and torso. This scene, I believe, is significant because Ajith has, for the majority of his career, very publicly and through his films, claimed that he has been stabbed in the back by many of his so called friends and traitors. But here, through this scene, it is almost like Vinod is saying that he has metaphorically got Ajith's back. And maybe it also illustrates the point that at this point in his life, Ajith has a good group of people around him who have got his back. And maybe Vinod became cognizant of this fact, having spent a significant amount of time with Ajith over the past 2 to 3 years while shooting for a number of films. But this is what I thought. I could be right, I could be wrong. Maybe, somehow, someday, I can confirm if this was true. And with this ends the episode, my dear listeners. Thanks a ton for your time and for listening.